Good morning. I was wondering if anyone can hear me okay.
Sure can.
All right, sweet. I can hear you also. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Test, test, one, two, mic.
Hey, Rick,
Yeah, yes,
we we did not have you on the list today, but do you want to do a presentation?
Um, I'm good to go. I don't have anything more to update other than our regular contact information.
Because
But
we
I
were,
mhm.
go ahead. Sorry.
I can stay on and just do my regular um uh information that we're here to provide service.
So would you mind going after Hillary is our second topic. Would you mind
Mhm.
going after her?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Thanks for being on. You're my favorite.
No worries. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the news briefing for this Wednesday, July 2nd. Well, it's July 2nd and July 4th is just around the corner. And of course, we can already hear the fireworks in most neighborhoods in our area. Now, that is all fine where fireworks are legal, but it's not so great when they're not legal, such as unincorporated areas of Monterey County. Besides considering the impacts that fireworks have on neighborhoods and pets and veterans, it's important to consider the dangers that fireworks pose in our fire season. We're going to put this all together with some fire agencies that are always on the front line of this. We're very pleased to have with us Matt Lumadue with the Monterey County Regional Fire District and Josh Silveira and Curtis Rhodes from CalFire BEU. Gentlemen, thanks very much for being here to talk about fireworks and fire safety.
Thanks for having us today.
Matt, why don't you get us started?
All right. Well, as you mentioned, yes, fireworks can be exciting and fun for many people, but for many pets and other people, it can be a very scary time. For firefighters, it's obviously a very serious time because we do have, unfortunately, a lot of people that tend to use fireworks in areas where they shouldn't be. So I have prepared a quick little PowerPoint. It goes through some of the points. Some of you may have seen this before. A lot of this information may be familiar to a lot of you, but I would like to suggest that this is all information that we can share with the community. If you have family, friends, other people that you can inform and let them know about some of these dangers, that would be really appreciated. So without further ado, I'm going to try to share my screen here and go through this PowerPoint. All righty, can you all see that okay?
Sure can.
All righty. So this is our fireworks safety PowerPoint. Why is it not playing? There we go. All right, so first off and foremost, the possession, storage, sales, handling, and transportation of use of fireworks are prohibited in most areas of Monterey County, except for certain unincorporated areas of a few cities. You cannot use or buy fireworks or even transport them to the area outside of the city where you legally purchased them. So some of the cities where fireworks are allowed are Marina, Seaside, Salinas, Soledad, Greenfield, and King City. But again, areas where you must use the fireworks there and cannot transport them to other outlying areas. So here are some safety guidelines and a new statistic. These are good ones to all look at. I'm not going to read every one of them. But there is a link at the bottom if you want some more information. These are all really good ideas and things to really consider if you are using safe and sane fireworks in the area where you bought them and where it's legal. All of our outlying areas and unincorporated areas, all fireworks, safe and sane or other, are all completely illegal. Quick statistic from CalFire here. Since 2024, fireworks have caused over $35 million in property damage across California, sparking over 1,200 fires. This is all from Chief Daniel Berlant. So I like his quote here is your responsibility to prevent fires and injuries. Don't let your 4th of July celebration end in flames. So on average, 18,000 fires are caused by fireworks annually. I'm sure that number has gone up since more and more people have used fireworks in the past. In addition to fireworks cause serious injuries. I saw a video or a picture actually of some x-rays of hands with their fingers blown apart and things like that. And it really made me think, wow, this is the last Wednesday where someone's gonna have all 10 fingers. So you can see some of the areas where a lot of injuries occur, a lot of times head, face, ear, most often hands or fingers. So again, fireworks are prohibited, strictly prohibited, anywhere outside of the city where they were purchased in. In our area, especially things like our areas like the Highway 68 corridor, all of Carmel Valley, Las Palmas area, those areas, all fireworks are strictly prohibited. If you see anyone that has brought in even safe and sane fireworks, let them know that not only are the fines incredibly large, but the hazard is even larger. All right, anything that leaves the ground is absolutely illegal in California. So even the fireworks that have the stamped fire marshal's approved tag that you can buy in some cities aren't going to be these types that actually launch up into the air. Anyone using these types of fireworks are definitely breaking the law. So NFPA.org and CPSC.gov both have good information about fireworks safety as well. So does CalFire, our website. mcrfd.org also has some great information. The information's out there. I think we just need to really talk to everybody and get the message out there that if you light any of these off, most likely you're going to be stuck with a very heavy fine, and you could be putting yourself, your neighbors, your own family, your own home in major jeopardy. All right, some safety tips. A lot of these have to do with the legal, safe and sane fireworks that you can purchase in some cities, but make sure that you only use state fire marshal approved fireworks. Most of these places are pretty heavy regulated, the vendors, so they shouldn't be selling anything that they're not allowed to sell, but do make sure that all of these things have been checked and that you're doing this responsibly. So injury prevention tips, these are really important. Never place your body directly over fireworks when lighting it. Light it from far away if you are using the safe and sane fireworks in the city where you bought them. Back up several feet. Never try to relight or fix a firework. If it didn't work, stick it in what I would consider the safest thing would be a large metal garbage can or container full of water and completely drown the firework. It's also a good thing to do after you've lit all your fireworks. Take the materials and again put them in a large metal garbage can full of water so that they're completely submerged. We want to make sure that these things are completely out. Some people leave them in their driveway thinking that they've already spent, and they actually are still smoldering. So those can sometimes lead to unfortunate fires when they get thrown in garbage cans and other things like that.
Hey, Matt, real quick.
Yes, sir.
Before we move on, just because they're safe and sane doesn't mean that they won't start a fire. And that's something that we really want to stress. If you go out into a large grassy field with your safe and sane fireworks and you start a vegetation fire, you're still liable for the consequences there. There may not be an infraction for the fireworks themselves, but it's still considered a negligence related fire. So
you're exactly right, Chief, and thank you for bringing that up. And correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, if you use even safe and sane fireworks in the wrong area, if you're doing the wrong thing and you start a fire, most likely you are going to be charged with the price of putting out that fire. And last time I checked, that price is pretty high.
Yeah, that's correct, Matt. So we really want to urge people, if you were going to participate in using safe and sane fireworks, do them in large concrete or areas that don't have any kind of vegetation that could potentially spark a fire.
Yeah, absolutely. Finer fuels such as grasses, weeds, things like that. These things can pop off, and even the ones that are, like you said, safe and sane and considered not to leave the ground, they can cast embers and sparks quite a distance. So just like Chief Silveira said, have any of these fireworks that you're using in a large open parking lot with no vegetation around you. Thank you very much, Chief, for emphasizing that, because that is a very important part. All right, I think that was a great note to leave on. We do want everyone to enjoy your 4th of July, but please enjoy responsibly. Just as Chief Silveira said, please consider how dry some of the vegetation and grasses and things are getting out there. It's just not worth your safety, the danger that could be caused, and the large fires that could come from lighting even safe and sane fireworks. When you're using them in the city that you bought them, if you're using them anywhere near vegetation, the chance of starting a fire is highly likely. And again, can be very costly, not just monetarily, but unfortunately, even lives. So please enjoy responsibly. And thank you very much for having us on today, whatever time it is.
Thank you so much, Matt, for walking us through all that. There's a lot of information, but you had a couple of really good key points about when you purchase safe and sane fireworks, about you can't take them back home if you don't live in the city where you bought them. So we hear about fireworks going off in unincorporated Monterey County where fireworks aren't allowed, but they're not also for sale in unincorporated Monterey County either. So that's just kind of like your benchmark, right?
You're exactly right. Yeah. A lot of people think, well, I can run into Salinas and then take them back to where I live because Salinas is close. I can get there in 10 minutes and buy these what are called safe and sane fireworks. But if you're transporting them back to these areas of like the unincorporated areas, there's a reason that they're not allowed there, and it's because we have a lot more of the wildland meeting the urban interface. They're just areas where it's known to not be safe. And I'd really like to emphasize what Chief Silveira said by if you are doing the right thing the right way, you should be in a large parking lot in the city where you bought them and always use extreme caution.
I can touch on that a little, Matt, if you'd like me to.
Thank you, Curtis. I wish you would.
Yeah, sure. So we've actually put a lot of time and effort into our websites trying to get this messaging out. One of them is readyforwildfire.org if you're not familiar with it. If you do go to that page, about halfway down, we currently are running an ad. It's fireworkssafetyca.org. In there, it touches on everything that we've spoken about throughout this presentation. Some notable mentions are fireworks safety tips, getting to know the laws, and injury prevention tips. In there, they do mention specific locations to the Central Coast with zoning maps that show you where you can light these fireworks legally. Going back and touching on that a little bit, even if you do purchase safe and sane fireworks that have that state fire marshal seal on them, and you alter those fireworks or you use those inappropriately, it doesn't necessarily have to be just flammable vegetation. We've seen them disposed inappropriately in plastic trash cans that have rubbish in there that will catch on fire. That could traverse into houses, not necessarily just the wildland itself. You can be held liable for any of those issues. And just to be specific on that, I know we talked about heavy fines. Actually going and looking at the laws, it could be up to a $50,000 fine, as well as up to 1 year in jail, and both in some cases. So something to be heavily noted on right there is, one, you can be fined, one, you can see that jail time, but then you can also be tapped onto any of the damages that occur to any of the structures, civilly, as far as any injuries or fatalities that come out of any of those fires, whether it's resident, civilian, or first responders that are having to go out and mitigate any of these issues. So if you do want to go to any of those websites, I know that we will be putting out the state of California's information on our local websites. In there, it has great reading tips. Like Matt said, go ahead and share those with your neighbors, your family. A good rule of thumb is where you see those fireworks stands in and around those communities, those are the communities you should be lighting them in. So if you don't go to the website and actually look at the zone map, which I would recommend some people that do live in the unincorporated areas, you might be close enough to go purchase them. But once you get home or you find that destination where you plan to ignite those fireworks, I would verify there whether you're in those zones or not, so you are not held liable up to those $50,000 fines just for lighting the legal fireworks.
So while I've got you, Curtis, can you also talk about conditions? Because I think people don't think we're necessarily too dry yet, or that the dangers aren't there yet. But we're seeing you guys respond to a lot of small fires, and you're throwing everything you've got at them.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you brought that up, and that's actually why I chose this destination. I'm out here in Hollister currently today. Behind me, you can see this Type 3 wildland engine parked. They're actually from CZU, which is the Santa Cruz San Mateo unit. They've been here covering for a few days. We actually have 3 strike teams currently assisting with the fires in Riverside and San Bernardino County. 3 strike teams consist of 15 engines. So we're at drawdown here in the unit, and I don't want to worry you by saying drawdown, because part of these state assets are moving around the state to backfill. So our engines are currently out of county, but our stations are currently being filled by other fire engines from throughout the state. So we are currently upstaffed to our what we would call peak wildland conditions. All of our stations do have fire engines in them. However, we have seen a lot of movement over the last 7 days when it comes to supporting the incidents down south. We have seen some unfavorable weather conditions when we talk about red flag warnings just to the north of the Bay Area. They are potentially seeing some dry lightning strikes up there. So we have ramped up and bolstered our forces here statewide to be prepared for non-firework issues, if you will. However, you pair that with the holidays coming around and the grass crop that we've seen with the amount of rain that we had this winter, we are seeing a lot of starts currently due to that transition in the grasses right around the roadway. And it doesn't just have to be with fireworks safety. We know that this week there's going to be a lot of people traveling around the Central Coast. A lot of those people come here to the peninsula due to favorable weather. You're seeing this grass crop come right up to a lot of our highway systems. So if you're having to pull off to the side of the road, you're having car issues, you need to use your cell phone in a legal matter, make sure that you're pulling over in a safe turnout, a large dirt area, because it could just take hot brakes or even a hot exhaust to ignite those light flashy fuels. And those are carrying into our brush models very quickly paired with the weather that we're seeing right now.
And we did have a question from someone on the call here about whether you knew what the fines were for some of the cities. We may know, what the fines might be for someone who does something illegal in the wildland area and the consequences of that. But do you guys know what the fines are for cities, or should people really find out themselves and know?
I think the people should absolutely find out, because we deal with a lot of different areas here in both of the counties that we currently service. That's a great question, because not only are you going to deal with your local law enforcement and the local's jurisdictional fines, but in turn, anything that has to do with the SRA, we're going to bring in our law enforcement team. They're going to do their investigation. I can speak on our fine specifically. They can be up to as much of $50,000 per fine, as well as potentially 1 year of jail time, or it could be both $50,000 fine and 1 year in jail.
So definitely that makes that sparkler not worth it, right?
Absolutely. And that comes with everything. We have seen stuff already this week. We work very closely with our local counterparts here. I've been in meetings every week with the local fire marshal, as well as our fire marshal and deputy fire marshal. We've been seeing fireworks already going off 3-4 days prior to the 4th of July. They have been making stops at those residents. We do have some tools in the toolbox as far as utilizing our cameras with AIs to see where those go off. More importantly, our UAS platforms are scurried throughout both counties right now. So you don't necessarily have to just get caught lighting that firework. We can make notation of where those are coming out, send law enforcement in, have a chat with you. In some cases, we've seen people that are buying safe and sane fireworks and then altering them to become whatever type of a firework they want them to become at that point. You don't even have to light the firework. If you get caught just altering the firework, you could be held liable to those $50,000 fines.
Well, because and I think to your point, it's just that dangerous. People might think, oh, I didn't set it off, or you caught me before I set it off, but that's not the point, I think is what you're saying.
That's not the point. I think the point number one is safety. We are very fortunate here to still allow some of these cities to have fireworks shows. I know if you go to the fireworkssafetyca.org, they have posted all of the professional shows that are going on. And I think that's tremendous that some of these cities are still investing in that. I know that they're not allowing fireworks, but they're still putting something on to allow those folks to go out and celebrate the holiday. With that, don't take them home. Don't alter them. Safety is our number one factor here. Obviously, we're worried about the fire conditions and fire starting. However, if you do have an incident where you light them too close to your safe and sane stash and it lights off and you have a couple injuries there, you got to think about the drawdown that you're having on resources. You're having fire engines respond, you're having PD respond, and you're having medic ambulances respond, and you're drawing down the system to where we could have multiple events going on and we're going to have to mitigate those hazards as they come. So the more that you can do at home to prevent and keep your family safe, the better that we're going to have the availability of this equipment in the event we start to see fires start. We can get there rapidly and meet our state mission at keeping 90% of the fires at 10 acres or less. Hopefully we don't see fires this year, and the folks at home are doing their due diligence to keep everybody safe.
Boy, fingers crossed on that. And any last words, gentlemen? I really appreciate you guys walking us through all this.
Yeah, just to kind of dovetail into what Curtis was speaking to, we considered this a maximum enforcement period, similar to CHP having DUI checkpoints. We have all of our law enforcement officers, CalFire law enforcement officers, out doing fireworks enforcement. Like Curtis said, we'll have our drone teams out in full force starting tonight all the way through the 6th. You could, or individuals could, in theory, receive a ticket based upon a photo taken from a drone of somebody that was lighting illegal fireworks. So just because you didn't see a police officer or one of our investigators make contact with somebody doesn't mean that they weren't caught. We want to really emphasize that there are professional shows out there. We don't want to take away from the holiday. But let the professionals do the professional fireworks, and let's have everybody going home with 10 fingers and 10 toes at the end of this holiday weekend.
Yeah, I'm actually glad Chief Silveira brought that up, because some of the things that we saw last year was people who were hosting parties, and they actually allowed people to come and light off, whether it was altered legal fireworks or illegal fireworks. And then when we had spotted them with the UAS platform and we made contact, those individuals had fled. At the end of the day, the property that is being ignited from and the people who are allowing that, they can also be held liable for those fines and or jail time. So if you're hosting a party and somebody shows up with that stuff, do your due diligence to remind them that you're not going to allow that to happen, because you can also be held liable for that.
That is very good information. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for walking us through all that, and fingers crossed for no problems.
Thank you for putting this on today. It's very important that we get this information out to the community, and we really appreciate your time and doing your due diligence to keep us all safe.
All right. Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Chief.
So we've just been talking about fires, and when there is a fire, you may have heard the temporary evacuation point, or TEP. Now, a TEP is a safe location for community members to go when there is an evacuation. It's a place for them to stop, get more information, charge their phones, and try to decide what they might need to do next. Often TEPs are located at our library branches. If you have ever wondered how you could help in an emergency situation, being a TEP volunteer is a good opportunity. We're very pleased to have our library director here, Hillary Thayer, to talk about the TEP Volunteer Recruitment Program. Hi, Hillary.
And thank you so much for inviting me today. Hopefully you can see my slides and hear me okay.
I can.
Excellent. So I'm sending the call out for volunteers across the county who may want to help your libraries when we are serving emergency and disaster functions. And this is a new type of volunteer opportunity that we're just calling like the emergency support volunteers. Let's see, I just have to figure out how to change my slides here. There we go. Okay, so when we're called upon by the county to serve in disasters and emergencies, we typically serve in one or more of these roles. As you said, Maya, the temporary evacuation point, which is really near an area being evacuated and your first stop. We call it the information, direction, and connection point. You're not going to spend the night with us, but we're going to charge up your cell phone, give you information, give you a place to sit and rest and make your connection, or have us help you get you to the next step, such as shelter. We often serve as a community resource center, and that's typically during extended power outages. So if a huge area of the county is without power due to any reason for an extended period of time, again, this is a place to come charge up, get information, receive resources and assistance. We also now more and more are serving as cooling centers, a place that you can come during the hot day to have air conditioning, cool water, a place to be, a place to rest when it's very, very hot outside, especially in areas where homes just do not have air conditioning. We also distribute resources, flood cleanup kits, blankets, flashlights, water, food, information packets. And then we always serve as a source of information, resource, and referral. And I say that's any combination of all that, plus we're also doing library stuff. So it can be very busy and very crowded in the libraries. The support we need from our volunteers is, this is the type of support, 18 plus, just because we want you to be on your own and able to evacuate yourself if needed. We do need folks who can do basic reading and writing of English. We love bilingual volunteers. Our instructions come to us in English first, and often we need to act on them before the public information comes out, which is fully translated for us. Use of basic technology, like helping somebody find a road closure, use Google Maps, use the Watch Duty website, and willingness to work with the public. This is not a volunteer opportunity for introverts. There are those, but this is going to be direct working with the public. Just a bit of free training, and you can offer the availability and geography that suits you. So you absolutely can respond and say, I only want to work in King City or Soledad. I really want to stay in Carmel Valley or on the peninsula, and that is totally fine. Your personal and family needs always come first. And often if I'm calling for help in a disaster, whether I'm calling staff or partners, they'll say, hey, I'm evacuating too, or I need to go take care of my parents. They live in Santa Cruz, and it's go. Your personal needs come first. This is not a obligation. Always you'll be with County of Monterey staff on site, and it's just to support these emergency or disaster functions. So if you want to help us, please give me a call, send me an email, respond on Volunteer Match. We do have an opportunity, and we have 3 training sessions scheduled. They are up on the screen. We will schedule more as needed. So even if you can't make one of these training sessions, give me a call, because then I know where to schedule the next one. And we would love to just have a group of volunteers that we can call to deploy to your libraries to help with these functions when the county calls us. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Hillary, thank you so much for walking through this. And I was hoping you might talk a little bit about the experiences that your staff has had in helping people in this crisis moment, because those TEPs, people may not realize they're not a show. I'm glad you pointed out you're not going to spend the night at the library or at the TEP, but they really are like a first point that when people come in, they've just been told to leave their home. Yeah. So they're having a lot going on, and there's a really great support that your staff provide and these volunteers would provide them.
Absolutely. And the one thing that we've worked on a lot, and we will help our volunteers know, is disasters evolve and they cascade. So we can have long periods of downtime where us being open is serving the function, and then all of a sudden it can change. The 2 examples I give are in 2023, when we just had rain and every river had flood watch, and we had a temporary evacuation point open in Prunedale, and we had been open 24/7 for about 2 weeks, and the nights had been really quiet. It's very dark. And they went from nobody in the library to 50 soaking wet people at 3 in the morning when the Pajaro levee broke. And the bus scooped up people and dropped them at the library. Another example I give is cooling centers. Sometimes somebody will come into a cooling center and say, but I have my grandma at home and she can't walk here. So we're able to get them resources and say, how can we help get grandma to the cooling place when it's 118 outside? And do we need to call in more help? We do a lot of sitting and just helping people be calm, maybe entertaining their kids while a parent gets on the phone to figure out where they're going to sleep tonight. A lot of recharging devices and a lot of looking up information. People will hear a rumor that a road is closed, and we're able to verify that or tell them, yes, it is closed, but you can drive this way. It's a lot of just hands-on, very flexible people work going on.
Hillary, thank you so much. If anyone has any questions for Hillary, you're welcome to put them in chat now. I'm also going to share the slides that Hillary provided with the contact information and the upcoming training, and we'll also get those posted. I know you're posting them on social media with the libraries, and we'll share those as well. And boy, fingers crossed that people can come and really help, just one way to support people really at a horrible moment.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
in their life.
and it's definitely no obligation on the volunteer other than I might call you. And if you're able to respond, we would love to have your help. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Hillary, for sharing this with us. And finally, our next update on Moss Landing recovery is next Tuesday, July 8th. But we have Rick Encarnacion with our Environmental Health Bureau here to just give us a quick update and maybe let us know what we'll be looking forward to hearing next Tuesday at our public report. Hi, Rick.
Hi, Mia. Good afternoon, everybody. Rick Encarnacion, Director of Environmental Health, County of Monterey, your local health inspectors. The Environmental Health Bureau, we continue to work with our state and local partners as well as our federal partners in ensuring that appropriate actions are taken by the responsible parties, as well as what we can do to provide service to inform the public, to ensure that we take appropriate actions for proper cleanup and address any issues related to the battery energy storage site fire back in January and the other flare-ups. In the chat, I put the information that we posted online, links to them, as well as our complaint line that anybody can give us a call or submit a form so that we can do some follow-up and collect any information that's needed. We'll provide updates along the way. As Maya mentioned, next Tuesday is another update. We'll give an update on our efforts with regards to our community sampling plan, our interactions with our toxicologists, and any other updates with regards to cleanup efforts. And I'd just like to let the public know that your local health inspectors, we're not going away. We're here to follow up. We have followed up with many incidents, and this is pretty much the largest one, but we're always there to respond to spills, complaints, any other issues related to the environment. So with that, I'll be ready for any questions.
Rick, thanks very much. And then, so just we have had inquiries from the public about the public update. There's a monthly update that is at the Board of Supervisors meeting, and that is next Tuesday, July 8th. And can you confirm that is in the afternoon session?
I'm not sure. They usually try to put that in the, I believe, in the afternoon, but I can't confirm whether in the afternoon or the morning. Yesterday we were just at the board for another matter with regards to collection of solid waste invoices and payments, but not for the fire.
Yeah, and they have been in the afternoon session, and we will confirm that. And we're starting our outreach to let people know how they can watch. If they're not there in person, they can watch on Facebook or YouTube, and we'll definitely get that information out there. Rick, thanks very much for just being here and reminding people that there are still ways to communicate their concerns and the complaint information, and they can also keep checking the data dashboard, which is very informative.
Yeah. Oh, Sonia just added there in the chat. It is in the afternoon.
All right. Thank you. Rick, thanks very much for being here for just a quick update on that. And thanks everyone for joining us on the news briefing this week. Our next briefing is next week. We'll see you then.
Thank you, Ms. Carroll. Have a good day.